Street Fighter has been getting a lot of attention lately. And you would think it's because this is the first time in years we're getting a brand new adaptation. One where Ryu gets to be the main character instead of Guile. I still have no idea what was going on with that, but regardless, the internet should be excited that the full cast of characters is going to get proper screen time, and the film is much more faithful to the source material. And yet, it's not. And that's the problem. Welcome to the Echo Chamber, the program where we talk about nerd news and pop culture in Zambia and around the world. Let me preface by saying this. I live here. Living in a mostly homogenous culture as a black man entirely surrounded by other black people, I have very little experience with actual racism. It's not something I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. I do deal with colonialist ideologies dictating my life and the lives of others in my country, but that's not the focus here. I am talking about this as an outside observer, so my opinion on the matter will mostly be shaped by that reality. So that said, do I really think it's such a big deal that the roster of Street Fighter characters in the movie is not accurate to the game? Yes, I appreciate that the characters' looks are very lore accurate in terms of costume and general vibe, but this is one instance where race really does matter. I remember when the casting of Halle Bailey as Ariel caused a massive uproar because, well, Ariel is a white woman. The thing is, though, she is not. Ariel is a mermaid. Mermaids don't have race. And if someone tries to say, well, she's based on mermaids and mermaids are part of European folklore, yeah, they're also part of the folklores of so many places around the world, including ghosts, dragons, and vampires. Some even argued that Hans Christian Andersen wrote the story and he is European, not African. To that I say, Jesus is not European either. The Bible was written by people who are not even slightly European. And furthermore, he was a real guy, a real Middle Eastern man. And yet, the most famous representation of Jesus is Leonardo da Vinci's, shall we say, Muse. And that's keeping it PG-13 for the algorithm.
Nigga, sit your ass down.
Honestly, though, for Ariel and other such characters like Snow White, the Hobbits, or even Starfire, princesses in fairy tales, fey creatures, and aliens respectively, race really does not matter, and anyone could play those roles. However, this is not true for all stories. Maintaining the race of characters as originally written is sometimes necessary. Let's take Tarzan. Tarzan cannot be a black man. Why? Because the story would lose its impact if he were. It makes a lot more canonical sense that he is a white man in the original story because the African natives knew of Tarzan's existence, but they treated him like an extreme anomaly, almost as if he were some kind of spirit. And the fact that he's phenotypically distinct from the people who live in that area supports that mythology. It's also harder to believe that a local would abandon a child to be raised by apes, because, that's very bad parenting. Even if the child's parents were killed, relatives and community members would likely take the child home. So the child needs to come from a far off place, and considering the time period and the fact that Europeans were meddling in African affairs at the time, the most logical conclusion is that he would be white. Could Tarzan be Asian, Indian, or Polynesian in some versions? Sure, but the story has less overall impact if Tarzan is not white, and it has the least impact if he were black. That's just one example of the importance of race in some stories. You can't just change a character's race based on vibes. Sometimes it's highly necessary to maintain race, and not just race. Religion, gender, and even sexuality can be important to some characters depending on the story. So in the case of Street Fighter, why is it so important to keep the character's race intact? If we're being honest, race swapping in Street Fighter is less about destroying the story's impact and more about misrepresenting what makes each character iconic. All Street Fighter needs for the theme and plot to work is a global fighting tournament where the best fighters from all over battle in the streets. That's it. In that case, race swapping is not such a big deal. But each character in Street Fighter has been a mainstay for a very long time. A character's name is strongly attached to a very particular set of traits. If those traits are messed up, it weakens the character and it weakens the appeal of the story overall. E Honda is a Japanese sumo wrestler. Dhalsim is an Indian yogi. Guile is an American soldier. Any change to this very straightforward base feels wrong. That's why Cammy's casting doesn't work when you consider the actress is Thai Australian, while Cammy herself is raised British. I acknowledge that in the game she is just a clone, but she is very much supposed to be British in multiple respects, including the fact that she is white. I personally find it hard to believe that it was that difficult to find a single white woman who could play this role. Don't get me wrong, everything about the casting choice works, from costume to her general look, except her race. It's the same for Dan. I do understand that finding a Thai Japanese actor who is also a comic performer capable of portraying a comic relief character is a tough ask. But they could have done what they did with Ryu and found someone close enough. Now, I for one know that these companies are at least trying to push for more diversity, and I can't assume the worst by saying they didn't try. But clearly, this casting is not ideal. Some choices work, others don't. I am curious to see how the characters will be portrayed by the actors themselves. Who knows, maybe Mel Jensen will play a British character so well that we won't even notice the difference. For cosplay, though, that's a whole different story. You can play any character you damn well please. In the upcoming anime coming in 2026, advertising has started pretty early, I know. But we have so much planned for you that we couldn't wait to let you in on the secret. Dates to be confirmed soon. Comment your favorite Street Fighter character in the comments below. And for now, this has been the Echo Chamber, signing out.